Okay, this video is about higher power. They talk about this higher power in, for instance, AA meetings. Okay, did we ever think, did anybody ever sit and just think about things? For instance, what's up there, outside of the earth? We call it space. Did we ever sit and think that maybe, just maybe, that whole thing out there, that whole thing, space, galaxies, universes, omniverses, dimensions, is our higher power? That whole thing out there is really our higher power? I think it is. And I think it goes beyond our visual apparatus. Because if you think about it, we're all born on different dates and months and years that coincide with different zodiac symbols that are in that zodiac out there. And that zodiac symbols out there in our galaxy and in the universe all have specific symbols. You've got Leo, you've got Taurus, you've got Gemini, you've got Scorpio, you've got Sagittarius, you've got Ophiuchus, you've got all these symbols. Virgo, and we're all born under one of these signs. And those signs are up there. So doesn't it make sense that that might be our higher power? That it's way beyond what we think it is? That it's not just an imaginary thing? That there's real stars moving in all different directions and coming into alignments in different signs of the zodiac at different times and different dates with different energies, with different planets lining up, and moons. I think that that's our higher power. And I think there's other beings, or angels, you could call them, that are working with that giant higher power that we have. And they work through who we are. They somehow know our alignments, our zodiac signs. They know our point of arrival and our point of either ascension or death. And they work to help us ascend and resurrect. That's my view. And my view is that there was some kind of problem, and there still is some kind of problem with the human species. There is some kind of problem, like they talk about the Garden of Eden, that somehow we were tricked in the beginning, in the garden, to eat from some tree that had some kind of effect on us, that somehow threw us into some kind of other reality that mimics the original one. But the whole point of that is that we were tricked somehow, and now there's something wrong. And the reason why I'm saying there's something wrong with our species and that we've been tricked is because we've got this higher power, and we've got these other higher beings that are working with our higher power, and with our alignments and zodiac signs and our energies at different days and times to help us ascend and become back to who we truly are, or progress higher, if that's not the case, up the ladder to higher realities, to higher planes, and where there's planets on those planes, on a higher level, until we get to the point where we belong. There's got to be somewhere that's higher than this. And I guarantee we were tricked. And I guarantee we are still under that effect when we ate whatever that tree was or whatever that trick was. I guarantee most people are still under that effect of that trick. And it's why we die. And it's why people persistently hold an identity image feeding the ego. In return, our body develops ignorance to anything, other facts that are outside of our identity image or identity group that we're trying to fit into in society. Especially when that outside idea of truth conflicts with the views in the identity groups and identity trends in society. It conflicts with not only their society's life, views, and perceptions, but it also conflicts with their ego, because they built the society and their identity groups based on the feeding of the ego through entertainment. They entertain. And when they entertain on TV, music, the entertainment feeds the ego. Now they could increase their image. And they could continue to increase their image and fit in, and to continue to fit in and catch up with the identity groups in the society. Now, let's take a step back and look at how it contradicts through the ego with their views. It contradicts because, for one, it makes some people feel like everything they're doing, if it's going to school, college, is all a total waste of time, and it pisses them off if that's true. It pisses them off. Because they think to themselves, if this is true, what this man is saying, that we have a higher power, and that we have 7 energy centers in our body that are not active, and we're being totally fed information and being convinced that this information and this education is the 100% truth of our reality, our world, and who we are, and how things work, then that totally creates almost like a relapse of their psychological makeup and emotional makeup, and it could really harm them. Because after all, if you read about the human body in the earlier times, the ego is a survival mechanism. The ego is only to help the human species, the human man or woman, survive in the wild, so it can live on, so it could eat, so it could get its food. And the ego is only meant for violence, for fighting, to survive. It's only meant for when there's a threat. So we could see how this ego has adapted into a social environment. It's suspecting there's a threat. It's suspecting that there's another group trying to trick it, trying to enforce some kind of foolish information that's not true. And even though it pisses them off, it doesn't matter if it's true or not to them, because the ego doesn't care if what you're saying is true or false. All the ego cares about is what it's been doing to as its image, and who the person is, and how it fits into the society. So we come down to the basic happenings of every true enlightened master that came on into this planet and ascended and made it out of this trap, while at the same time trying to help the others. We saw their egos go into defense, do the exactly opposite of what they should have been doing if they wanted to get out. It enraged them. When Jesus Christ came and he started speaking the 100% truth to everybody, there was people that had the intuition and they felt it and they had that knowing and they knew that he was speaking truth, and they seen it done in action. And when those people that believed his truth were surrounding him and following him, his powers increased. Because we can see that not only through a religious or spiritual view, these masters that follow this God path have some kind of mind over matter attribute to them. And when the Pharisees saw this, they went into jealousy. They became very jealous, very angry. These people were all starting to follow this man, this one man that was really doing it, was really doing the real thing. And I can't understand why they would be angry. Why would they try to fight for their ego and their image when there's something else greater? Why would you not listen to the man? Why would you not unconditionally love the man, respect him, honor him, work with him, not try to make things worse and mock him? And oh, they mocked him terribly, because what he was speaking conflicted with their whole life, the whole way they were living. Not only their identity, but everything about them. It conflicted. Because everything about them was fabricated. It was phony. They weren't who they were supposed to be. Now I will leave off on video 2 of the higher power.